Alright, so for this lesson, we are going to create a GIF in Photoshop. Alright, for this one, we are going to create a snow globe. The instruction sheets, if you are someone that follows better with instructions, you can click on this link. It'll take you there as well. Or if you're more visual and rather follow along, this is exactly what you guys can create. Okay, now, so what we're going to be doing for this assignment is creating something like this. You guys have the option to choose really anything that is in there, and it will end up like this. This one's kind of glitching out right now as the recording's going. There it goes. But this is ultimately what you're going to be working with. So first of all, the first thing you're going to have to do is select a photo. Okay, so like I said, you guys can do kind of whatever you want to put into the snow globe. That is completely up to you. For the sake of this, I want to just kind of follow along with what I've already got. So in this case, I'm going to go to crescent. I just said I'm going to do a crescent snow globe. Now, I'll remind you, if I try to do something like this, I'd have to add a background in, or this, right? If we do snow, it's generally white, so it wouldn't show up very well where the white areas are. So in this case, the best one I found that I could use was this just black and gold regular logo. So I just right clicked, save image as, and in this case, I typed in CHS logo and hit save. Okay, so your first step is to get that. Now we're going to jump into Photoshop and imagine this isn't there. Actually, you've already seen what the outcome looks like. You can just click File, Open. All right, then you're going to choose your picture that should be under your downloads. Choose your picture, hit Open, and it automatically opens this up. So the first tool we're going to use is this circular tool here. So we're going to hold down the Shift key and drag. And we're going to try to, it's important that you also let go of your mouse and then the Shift key, like you saw just a second ago. If you do it the other way, it's going to kind of mess things up. So now I just use my arrow keys to move it over to kind of circle that and center that a little bit. But once you do that, all right, that's what will be the snow globe. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to use our filter menu. And I've already used Spherize as I went through this just to make sure, but how to get there, under filter, you're going to go to distort, then you're going to choose Spherize. Now, you're going to want to make sure you have this amount set at -60 and the normal mode on before you click OK. And you can see it kind of messes it up. Some of the stuff it doesn't mess up when you're using something like this. It kind of does. We could essentially make this smaller. So, for example, if we go back just to kind of fix this, we could uh, Control T this and like shrink it down so it doesn't do as much. But just for the sake of this, I am going to continue with how I've got. So we've got this distorted. All right, and now we're going to Control C, Control V, and you can see how that adds it to a new layer for us there. All right, now we don't need the other one off, so I cut the layer I off, and now we are on this one. We are going to name this layer Snow Globe. Okay, so now that we have snow globe there, we have it named. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure this layer is selected and then hit FX. We are going to choose the bevel and emboss option. Now, we're going to make sure the first thing we're going to go through, and you guys want to make sure everything I have on here is what you guys have as well. So the first thing you're going to want to make sure is that under the structure section, you want to make sure that inner bevel is selected, that smooth is set to, the technique is set to smooth, depth needs to be set, all right, at 500%, direction is pointed up, size to 60, and soften to 16. All of these are already set for me because I just finished this to make sure, refresh for this year. And now as we go down to shading, we want to make sure the angle is set. So this one is not set correctly. Set angle set to 140. Add altitude set to 30. Oh, in this case, my bad, it needs to be set to 20. Okay, we want to make sure this box right here for global light is checked. We want a linear contour, so that is this first one that is going across. All right, and then highlight mode to screen, opacity should be set to 100. multiply here, and then opacity at 25%. Now, that's what we want in that section. On the next section, all right, on the left side over here, we're going to go down to inner glow, so make sure it is checked. And now we're going to make sure that all of yours are set to this. We want this set to soft light, opacity all the way up to 100, noise to 0. All right, we want this to be everything else like this, noise to 0. Then as we get here, we want our precise, our source set to edge, choke to 0, size to 250 points. All right, and then lastly, we are going to make sure our contour is set to Gaussian, which is this one, which is right here. All right, range should be set at 40 and jitter to 0. Now the last thing everything should look like is how you have it right here. And then as we go into that, we're going to click OK, and you'll see those changes. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to create a base for this. So we're going to go down, we're going to right click and make sure we have the rectangle tool. And we're going to click and drag to make that rectangle. Now, as we do this, we want to make sure the color for this is how we want it. Okay. So with our rectangle selected, we want to make sure the color is filled, so you can choose your color. I'm going to use a brown. So you can play around in here and find the brown you would like to use by dragging this around and getting there. So if we just go with that, so I've got that. And then I also want to make sure that my stroke right here is cut off. Okay, you can either change it down here or you can change it over here. Now, after that, I want to continue to, to adjust this. So that's pretty good. I like how that's set up now. And now the next thing we have to do is we have to alter this. So we're going to go up here. We're going to go under Edit. We want to go down to Transform Path. We want to warp this, and you can see how this changes it. So what I want to do to warp this is I want to pull the sides up just a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to pull it down. And this is kind of more to, how you like it to look. Alright, and then to make it kind of more, so you can pull these in to make it kind of a base like that. Now obviously you can see you kind of have to eyeball that side to side to make sure it looks good. And then whenever you're done, click done. Once you click done, this pop-up is going to show. You're going to hit yes. Alright, so now you've got the base. You can do it like this or the way they have it in the instructions. However you like that base to look is how you'll want that. Now, after this is done, if you like how that looks, you're going to select the top layer, then hold shift to click the snow globe layer. Now you're going to right click and click merge layers. This makes it all one image now. Alright, now that that's done, we are going to leave this document. Actually, we're going to actually click File, New. It's going to pop up here. Now, it's very important. You want to make sure pixels are set right here. All right, and we're going to change this by 3,000 to 3,000 by 72 pixels in an inch resolution, and we're going to click Create. This is our new document. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to kind of go out of order from the instructions here. I'm going to go ahead and Control-C and paste this over here. All right, you can see there that is. All right, we're going to hold the Shift key down and make that actually, let me redo that. All right, I didn't need to hold Shift, it's already locked in, and I want to do that. Now that this is in here, I'm going to use my eyedropper tool to select that, go back to make sure my base layer, and now that I have that color, I'm going to make sure I have that crescent gold. That's all I did there. All right, now the next part is we are going to go ahead, all right, and merge these two layers as well. So once again, select both layers by holding the Shift key, and then right click, merge your layers. All right, after the layers are merged, the next thing we need to do is make 4 of these copies. And I'm actually going to just go snow globe, snow 1, and then I'll copy that, snow 2, snow 3, and snow 4. So we have our 4 layers. Now, after we have our 4 layers, I'm going to cut all the eyes off except the bottom one. Make sure I'm selected and can only see the bottom layer. After that is the case, I'm going to use my selection tool. Alright, and I'm going to select just this globe. Okay, on the instructions, it tells you to select the bottom as well. You don't want the snow to go past the bottom, so just select the globe and everything in it. In this case, I'm having to make sure it selects this white part as well. Alright, and now that that is selected, I'm going to go to my brush tool. When I click my brush tool, you guys will see this area right here. You're going to click this little folder icon, and you want to make sure under brushes, you see some of these, you're going to go in and you're going to choose the brush that looks the most. Now, let me go under brushes where you guys can see it as well. You're going to choose the brush that looks the most like snow there. Okay, so if you click under these, you'll find the ones that we actually use is the one that looks the most kind of like snow there. So you'll see here, this is where you're going to end up in brush settings. But when you're looking at brushes, you're going to look for, and you can generally find the one just by typing. So I'm not sure the exact name of this one actually. But when you click brush settings, we go brush tips shapes, this is the one you're looking for, the one that says 80 here. Now once you do that and you have that one selected, we want to go in and we're going to start changing some of the settings about this one. So we're going to choose shape dynamics, and we're going to follow along to make sure we get it to make more and more look like snow. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to change the size, all right, of this. Under this, we're going to change this to 400. Oh, not 14, 400. Okay, and then we're also going to change the spacing to 150. You can see how originally they were all real bunched in together. Now we're going to go under shape dynamics, and we're going to change the jitter to 25 and everything else to 0 except for the angle jitter. So size jitter and angle jitter to 25. As you go to the scattering, all right, we want scattering set at 30%, and then we want both of these set to the box set for both axes here checked. That's what that's referring to. And then we have this set to 1 and 0 here. Now, to make sure we have the right color, if I were to start doing it now, it's going to start doing those colors. I'm going to make sure I click right here, and then I want white as my foreground color. All right, and then all I'm going to do is click all over the place. And because it's selected, all right, like it is, it cannot go anywhere outside of that. Now that I'm done on this layer, I'm going to select the next layer, and I'm going to do the same thing. Because the layers are all on top of each other, we're good to go. And then repeat the process. You'll do this 4 different times. Oop, you can see where I lost my selection there. So all I need to get that back is really quickly grab my selection. Makes it easy so I can just click around free. Back to my brush tool. All those settings are still saved. You can, instead of clicking multiple times, you can just click and drag. And then we're going to do this on this last layer. Now that this all is done, the hard part's done, we just have to make sure you can export it. So the last thing we do, we're going to close that down. You can hit Control D to deselect it. And then all we have to do here at the bottom is we are going to now open up how to, for you guys to get this down here, that at the bottom. So what you're going to do under the Windows menu, right up here, you are going to choose Workspace, and then you're going to make sure motion is clicked. When motion is clicked, this pops up here at the bottom. All right, now that that has happened, right here where I want to actually have to hide this, you're going to click Create Frame Animation. Make sure that's the one that's clicked. Okay, now once that happens, you guys will be able to see this with that selected. All right, and then as you click, you're going to click this button here. Okay, when that happens, let me make sure you're going to make sure with this selected, you should have make frames, which is not showing up for you guys. Create frame. Okay, my bad. You got to click that button. Now we're good. Now we're going to click make frames, and it pulls each one of those down. Now you're going to use the shift key, click all of them, choose 0.2 seconds, make sure forever is selected here. Now you can hit the play button, and you can see the end of how this ends up. The last step of this is to export this so you can use it. Export, and instead of export as, yes, you can see export as, and you'll see format GIF. However, it will not pop up. So don't do it this way. What you want to make sure you do is File. You're going to go to Export, Save for Web Legacy. Make sure GIF is selected here. Make sure 250. Wow, this one looks really large. For some reason, it shouldn't take up all of that, but it is. Image size, all of that still looks correct. And then you're going to click Save. Name this Snow Globe 2, because I've already done one of these. And now that's saved in my Documents folder. You guys will be able to access this if we go into your Google Drive. You'll have to pull it into there. So let's do that really quick. File upload. Remember, I paid attention and it's saved into my documents. Snow Globe 2, we're going to click open. It's going to upload this in here. And if you do it correctly, it's going to have this little play button here. So let's see if we did it correctly. If we type in Snow Globe 2, you can see the play button there. I double click it and I'm able to see it. This is what you will upload into the Google Classroom. If you have any questions, all right, feel free to ask me in class.